1, 2, 3, 4.
One of the worst words, one of the most terrifying words in the German language. German has a good number of terrifying words, but this is the most terrifying word I know in the German. When someone says this word, it just sends shivers up my spine. Ausdiskutieren. It means discussing something until the subject is exhausted. Discussing it out, talking it out. You really exhaust the subject, and you are exhausted. It's like your brain turns to mush. It's a kind of punishment. If someone says something, and you say, "Well, let's discuss this out," it's like you're punishing him. You're killing him softly. You're smothering him in sincerity. The theory behind Ausdiskutieren is that you want to discuss it until you get to the bottom of it and really solve the problem. You want to really just get that problem and solve it and know it and put it behind you and forever. So it's really like this sincere therapeutic thing that you're doing. You're discussing it to the end. But in fact, what you're doing is you're running around circles until one of you just gets so tired and exhausted and frustrated that he just gives in. And then you keep talking. You just keep talking. It's like kicking a man when he's down. He's so exhausted that he can't argue any longer, can't discuss any longer, and you just keep talking until it's clear to him that everything he's ever done in his life is just horrible, and he's a horrible person and a complete loser, and it's really is torture. It reminds me of Stalinism. In Stalinism, they had this thing. They called it a self-criticism, where if you did something wrong, you stand up in your committee or something, right, and you would criticize yourself. You would say, I did something wrong, and I was too bourgeoisie, and I forgot a moment my communist ideals, and then you want to sit down, but the other guys will say, well, no, go on, keep going. What about this and that? And you say, oh yes, well, that also I also did this thing on this one day, and that was wrong of me, and then they'll say, yeah, but what did that say about yourself deep inside? And say, well, that's true. I wouldn't be doing I wouldn't be doing these things if I weren't really a horrible person who was not really convinced of coming. And then after 2 hours of this, you're mush inside. It's just a way of just destroying you. And this Ausdiskutieren, which was popular like in the 70s and 80s, but it still is popular today too. Of course, it's taken, people don't take it seriously as they used to. But I think of it, maybe just because I'm a guy, and guys are, have a certain fear of language, of talking, especially to women. But I often think of it as a kind of a guy-girl thing, where in a relationship, you fight in a relationship, and the woman just has sometimes more breath. She can just talk longer. And at some point the guy gets, frustrated and says, I don't know, okay, you want the discussion, fine, well, whatever, we'll go have Chinese food. But that's not enough. She'll say, no, it's not enough that you want to go to Chinese food. You have to admit that it's the better idea, even though you wanted to have a hamburger. And I say, okay, it's the better idea. I want to have a hamburger. I was wrong. It's better to have Chinese food. And then she'll say, I don't know if I believe you. I think we should discuss this problem. And then and she really tortures the poor guy, the poor bastard who talking is not his main thing. He's, maybe, he's a plumber or something, and what he does well is plumbing. He doesn't do talking very well, but his wife is very good at it, and so she uses it just to completely punish him. And this word, Ausdiskutieren, is just a perfect description of this. I guess there are men also who would. I'm a guy who talks a lot, and I will punish my girlfriend by just talking to her night and day about some irrelevant subject that she just hates. I don't know if that's the same as Ausdiskutieren, but I do punish her with just blabbering on and on. So it's not only women, but sometimes I think there is a kind of a moral superiority that goes with Ausdiskutieren. And the person who commands the Ausdiskutieren is the person who is morally superior. And the person who, takes the brunt of it is kind of the moral loser. And he's helpless against it because he just doesn't know how to talk for longer than 5 minutes. Whereas the other person can talk for hours and hours and not get tired. And that guy, that poor bastard, he just doesn't stand a chance. And it's terror. It's verbal terror.
1, 2, 3, 4.